Wrong camera. Okay, there we go. How's everyone doing? Almost went to the full screen, just making sure that, let me bring the volume down here for the music a little bit. This is from YouTube. So I got a little bit of the music. I gotta let it play a little bit just to see if the voice meter is picking up too much. I think it's fine just where it is right now. If it's too loud, do let me know. Welcome to another episode with your boy TraderPrad. Today has been another one of those days in the market where you could say it was a red day, right? Now you could say it was a red day, but it didn't play out as what a lot of people were possibly expecting it as. You know, I thought the market was actually going to give you that big pullback into more than the 9-day moving average, but basically bouncing off the 9-day moving average for the QQQ, which is not that far out of the expectations. We did get under yesterday's low, a little bit of weakness, but something that really stood out was Tesla. Tesla was ridiculously strong today. Closed up, I think, 4% or maybe close to 4% from what I remember. Even quantum names that I was watching for the big first red day setup, they never really set up properly for that, or they kind of broke under yesterday's low but never really had any traction under yesterday's low. They did give you decent scalps though for the short side, but then they also gave you a scalp back to the long side, so showing you that buyers and the momentum for the upside is not done yet for these quantum names. People still want to buy these names, even though there's awesome podcasts and videos and documentation about how these companies are basically nothing burgers. Even OKLO, a name that I was trying to short today, didn't win on my shorts, but my other trades on the day actually made up for my loss on OKLO, so it never really mattered. But the point was OKLO was still pretty strong. I mean, it sold off later on after a big pop similar to the quantum names, but still the strength in these names at the moment is ridiculous. But I think there is an opportunity right around the corner here. I think going into Friday with options expiry coming to this Friday, we got some opportunities to keep an eye out for, see how these gamma levels come into play for these extended names. Do they get under their hourly support? Do they get under their daily supports and then give us some potential short opportunities? Even some crypto names, even though crypto bounced back from what I remember seeing. I remember seeing Bitcoin bouncing back. It looks like some stocks in the crypto sector, such as MSTR, potentially getting ready for some moves to the downside. So getting ready for opportunities over there. And the main name in play today was basically QURE. So let's not waste any more time. Let's cut away from my beautiful face with the wonderful haircut over here. I can already see what TH is going to call it. He's going to call it the the Germany haircut. I can already expect TH thinking that. But no, this is not a Germany haircut, TH. Screw you. People like this haircut. I like a haircut, okay? We're gonna stick to it. All right, move to the full screen. Let's talk about the stocks that were pretty much in play today. Starting with QURE. I was expecting Micron to be a lot more active than it was. You know, their earnings report was fairly decent. But I guess it was active, but to the downside, right? Micron selling off today gave you a opening range short opportunity somewhere right here, or even a pullback in VWAP short opportunity in near 163. You'd be risking a move back above 164, and you got a very clean breakdown over here all the way down to 158 on Micron, and then a backside scalp long over here from 159, let's say 160, from 160 back into 162.50, where you're only risking about $1, and you end up getting a $2 scalp from this overall move over here on Micron if you were looking for it. But I wasn't watching Micron today. My attention was taken over by a biotech name, QURE. Awesome move on QURE. Intraday on the swing account, long around here, got out basically at 50, and then for the intraday account, for the day trading account, getting long near 39, adding on the 40 break, and then basically getting out at 50. I think I also added over here on the 44 break, if I remember correctly. But right here at the $46 break is where I added on my personal account. The stock apparently had a stock offering after hours, but that didn't really manage to push the stock to the downside. Very, very positive news catalyst, up 300%, 250% on the day today. The news catalyst was that they have basically cured Hutchinson disease, which took the stock from what, $13 from yesterday's close into $50 today, and expecting much more upside. Martin Shkreli, if you guys know who Martin Shkreli is, very famous, very well-known person in the pharma industry. Let me see if I can find his tag somewhere. I should be able to just type his name here. Martin. There you go. Martin Shkrelster. Calling out that the stock could easily head over to 10 times from where it is, 5 to 10 times from where it is at the time that the stock actually opened at $40. So expecting way more upside for the fact that their drug is good, I guess. And if anyone who knows drugs, I'm pretty sure it's Martin Shkreli. So looking forward to see where the stock goes. Bare minimum from 35 is 5x. So we are already at 50, maybe a little bit more upside expected over the next few coming days. This is also looked as an episodic pivot. Eventually, maybe a company will come in and buy this company out for a bigger price. You'll now see a bidding war potentially between some of the big drug makers coming in and trying to buy out this company. So that's a potential candidate over there. So lots of opportunities that are potentially lining up in the future now that that deal has not only the deal, but the drug has been approved. Things are looking good for QURE, and this is where most of my attention was. I did trade LAC today. This is a mining company that Trump is actually a Canadian mining company. I didn't know about that until today morning. We were looking at this yesterday. It's a Canadian mining company that potentially is going to get a 10% or more investment from the US government. Not sure how that's going to play out when you're talking so much smack about the Canadian government, trying to put tariffs on the Canadian government, and then you're going to go ahead and try to invest in Canadian companies. I'm not sure if our government's going to even let you go ahead and do something like that. Maybe they will because they need money. Who knows? I'm not really I'm not a politician. I don't know how like laws and rules and all these things and tactics and negotiations work out. So all I can do is think about the possible scenarios, two scenarios, which is obviously, as all stocks, all scenarios, one could go up, the other one could go down. The first scenario is the deal actually gets approved and they start investing in LAC, another mineral mining company, and we start pushing much higher. The downside would be the deal actually doesn't go through, the government comes in and blocks the company, and then we start pushing much lower. I just saw that tweet too. I just saw that tweet too. Lol. Alright, so LAC is pretty much, you know, it's just one of those jokes as people always make as a streamer. Yeah, it could go up, it could go down. Thank you, streamer. But realistically, it's one of those very, very news-driven deals now. It's almost like, what is it? What's that steel company? US Steel. It's almost like a steel driven company. You could actually relate this closer to Intel. However, we do know that the Intel deal is actually going to go through, right? So it's an American company, less likely that it's going to get blocked. But you can compare these moves to Intel with LAC and potentially be able to take advantage of some moves over there coming in. So if LAC pulls back a little bit, look for some support areas to show some buying, and then you can buy it back up over here. Look at Intel getting bought up around 29 and now pushing back into the $31 area, up 6% today on Intel. Not bad. Maybe we should put Intel on the watch list, which never usually is on the watch list. Let's use in the chat real quick. TH saying Jack Ma appears to be okay. TH, calm down. Tomorrow could be a tricky. Big dollar will be balanced. Their large trade, some stocks may plummet. Why? What is tomorrow? What's so special about tomorrow? I'm not sure exactly if tomorrow is anything special like that. It's not a rebalance day. It's not like you know, it's not a rebalance day, right? So I don't think tomorrow is anything special out there or if there's like a economic calendar that possibly some of your small cap short selling, your timing needs to be much better now. Hey, I've been saying that for years. You can't just sit there shorting the stocks at the open and then give it 100% stop. That's just absolutely stupid. But tomorrow is not a rebalance. The day before a rebalance day. There is no rebalance this month, bro. What are you talking about? Rebalance was already over. It was last week. Rebalance was last Friday. This is not a rebalance Friday. Okay? Anyways, TH, Mr. I Know Everything, thank you. Thank you for interrupting my content. Sean, I miss you, bro. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate the nice words, my friend. Always appreciated Sean. But TH over here, Mr. I Know Everything, Mr. Hate Watcher. I'm joking. TH hates me. I disagree. It's not the rebalance, TH. I promise you tomorrow is not a rebalance. Or Friday is not rebalance. I promise you, okay? I don't know what to tell you, but I promise you it's not. Just trust me, bro. That's all I can tell you. It's not the rebalance on Friday. Last Friday was rebalance, and I know that with 100% guarantee. I don't know what else to tell you besides that. Moving on. Let's show you guys what's in store for tonight's watch list. I already talked about a couple of the stocks on there. QURE, LAC. The quantum names still very much in play. A lot of them actually bounced from yesterday's low. So if they actually manage to get below yesterday's low, today's low, tomorrow, that's going to be an interesting game plan over there for the small cap names. What are the nuclear energy names? Almost forgot it was nuclear. I was just my mind was stuck on energy. Nuclear energy names, some of the other AI names over here. The Mag 7, as I always like to watch it. Today, Mag 7, very, very weak, but Meta was green a little bit. And Tesla, fairly strong on the day. CoreWeave, they got me pushed out of my CoreWeave swing position, which is a little annoying. I was long CWVX. That's the leverage CoreWeave ETF. They got me pushed out of that name, but I'll be looking to get back into that one. And then the space sector, as some of the sectors are now cooling off, possibly taking a breather. You have some other sectors heating up and taking front stage, such as the drone sector, UMAC, RCAT. I even want to throw in some RCATs, some some robotics in there to keep an eye out for. Some of the older names that were flying earlier, the high flyers, RDDT, ALAB, ANET, what else was flying? I can't really remember right now. What were the other big names that were flying? Just pull up a heat map, bruh. That's true, you know, that's what I should do. But the heat maps don't really give me the nitty gritty movers of the day, you know. Those just gives you the biggest names of the day, which are pretty lame. Those are not where the money makers are. Like you know, you're not gonna see LAC on the heat map most likely, right? Let's try it out. Let's see if LAC shows up on the heat map. You see LAC anywhere? Like, these heat maps are so lame most of the time. Like, they're good at showing you a quick little picture of like, okay, hey, this big tech stock or this large cap name in this sector is doing relatedly well to that sector, or this sector as a whole is doing green. Like, that's a good way to say it helps you out. Like in this way for the Mag 7, like, yeah, you can quickly see that Microsoft and Tesla were green, whereas all of them were red. But heat maps don't give you the justice that I would like to show. There's got to be a better map somewhere down the line to show you exactly. Actually, the best way to see all of this, in my opinion, is StockB's website, or is it not his website, his Excel sheet, which gives you a better, broader picture of the overall market. Let me see if we can ask open open StockB market breadth sheet, and we're gonna put that in here on the assistant. I should have it open somewhere here. No. What the? I had the spreadsheet somewhere. Hold up. There you go. Is this it? No, this is one of them, but that's not it. That was one of them. Trading, Prad Tools, Money Bag. There you go. Boom. Get professional emails. Don't care. Move on. So this momentum breadth indicator over here, if you just go to the 2025 one, there you go, 2025, just shows you, you know, quickly analysis of how many stocks are up above 4%, down below 4%, how many stocks are up above 25%, down below 25%, a better snapshot of actually understanding where the market is than a heat map. And then if you really want to know what stocks are moving as a day trader, the best way to really look at it is actually, you know, having a catalyst. What stocks are moving based on catalyst? Right now, if I remember correctly, you know, there's lots of upgrades and downgrades happening. There's lots of Oracle, AI, and Nvidia news catalysts taking place. Even Intel coming out and saying, hey Apple, please invest in us, Apple. We need some of your money over here, and that's causing the stock to go upside. I think that actually was going into the close over here, so you can see how a big volume spike came into the close. Intel basically begging and pleading everybody for help over here. But hey, I'm not gonna complain. Look, the market was down on the day, and it was only down 0.3%. At a point, it did look very scary. We still are under yesterday's low. We pushed all the way down to the 9-day moving average, but a very nice bounce off the 9-day moving average over here on the market. And most importantly, I mean, Tesla was the beautiful part. Watching Tesla rally the way it did after the breakout over here. Nvidia still near all-time highs, right? This is not when bear markets really start to happen. If Nvidia starts to get back below the 50-day and then look weak below the 50-day again, then that's potentially scary for the QQQ. That's potentially scary for the overall markets out there. But I don't think we're just there yet. We're still getting new catalysts coming out every day. CoreWeave recently had a catalyst that took it to the upside, and people are looking to really invest a lot of money in CoreWeave over here. So you're going to potentially see some rotation from other names. That means probably some profit booking and some money being poured into CoreWeave very soon. CoreWeave has a very, very tight relation in the AI basket. So just an idea of names to keep an eye out for, as people are still interested in buying the dips for the current market. We're not calling tops yet. I'm not really interested in calling tops. Yesterday's top was more of a playing a joke about how people were trying to call the top, and everyone freaking out about a little down day on the market, people thinking that it's time to start selling every single thing, especially in the quantum sector. People telling you to close all of your quantum positions completely and walk away, whereas look at what RGTI did today. Made a new all-time high. Let me correct myself. Made a new all-time high. However, it did close a little bit weaker. Only closed up 0.57% up on the day. But that's not the point. The point is it made a new all-time high, and we're off to the moon, baby. Here's the stock that I was talking about earlier, IonQ in the quantum basket. Look at the double bottom now. So that $70 area, $71 area just sticks out a little bit more. I would bet you today's VWAP is actually yesterday's VWAP, and you can see how that lined up. At one point, today's VWAP was lower than yesterday's VWAP. That's that red dotted line over here above the orange dotted line. At one point, today's VWAP was below yesterday's VWAP, and had that stock rejected right here and pushed back into yesterday's low, most likely we would have seen the proper move to the downside. But it didn't really do that. I tried to find some selling here and then bounced right back to the north side. So that gave you what is the most ideal scenario, which is not a breakout of this and a continuation, just that today's VWAP is best price as yesterday's VWAP. And then if the stock continues to trade around this area again, potentially a breakout above tomorrow or a breakdown tomorrow will open up some new scenarios. A breakout above would potentially be some stops getting blown out. A lot of people positioning themselves for the eventual downfall that might come into play tomorrow pre-market or tomorrow intraday. So anyone who is short right now and wrong will potentially get stopped out tomorrow if we start gapping up higher. But if anyone who is long in this area, potentially getting stopped out when we gap lower. So that's gonna be a complete different game plan if we're in this area. But if we're in this area here tomorrow, I'm looking forward for some action on IonQ and the overall quantum sector. Some of them have made a lot more run up than the others, so keep an eye out for the ones that made the highest run up. RGTI, you could say, actually is a little bit stronger than IonQ right now technically, because today's low actually is not yesterday's low. This one looks a little bit stronger than IonQ. QUBT is a lot weaker than all of them, But if quantum names are not done going yet, then this could be the one that you could really use as a stock to play catch up on. But for me, I don't really like to put my money in stocks to play catch up. I like to play the names that are already have been showing the most love. However, the ones that have been getting the most love already are very much extended, so it is hard to put money into them. So it's potentially something to watch over here on QUBT, but I'm just gonna manage my position on RGTI. Maybe add to it, not really ridiculously, but add to it if I need to. QBTS, more on the side of RGTI. Technically, on how the chart is, it's a little bit more closer to RGTI, but still a name that you can potentially look to put exposure in for the quantum name if the quantum names are not done blasting off yet. And I think the ringleader so far has been IonQ, so you're gonna watch IonQ for a potential move above 76 tomorrow. Yesterday's high was today's high, and both the time the 76 area was an issue for this name, and the 71 area was support. So watching. I think 70 will be a good inflection area just because it's that even dollar price point, but I'm almost convinced that at this point, if we do get below 71 or 70.90, it was today's low. 71 exactly was today's low. So if we get below 71, I'm almost convinced that the stock just crumbles, and you don't even need to worry about the $70 area at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete that $70 area. Josh is in the house. What's up, Josh? Any signs of hurricanes this time of a year will possibly make oil go up? Other possible stocks like HD, Lowe's, GNRC. Not too sure about that trade. I've never really traded that setup or that that type of a trade setup in general. So I can't really say that. I haven't back tested it, so I'm gonna leave that to you, my friend. But thank you, Josh, for pointing that out. I think that's a very interesting thing, though, to actually look at. You know, there's stories about Ray Dalio, who has hired satellites to look at how high oil containers lids are to gamble on or to bet on, I should say, on the oil markets and the oil futures. And he has been profitable when he did that, but probably not as profitable now, because now it's a lot more widely accessible to people. But you know, it's a cool way to look at the markets, thinking outside the box, looking at hurricanes as a reason to put money in oil, or put money into investment companies, or short investment companies, actually. If we've seen history when the Hawaiian fires and everything happened over there. So just a good way to keep an eye out for potential money making opportunities. Sadly, off casualties. Sadly. JB, no, but once I played Samuel Adams for their limited time seasonal pumpkin ale. What the heck are you talking about? Alright, dang, look at all those tabs. Sir, you haven't seen anything yet. You haven't seen anything yet when it comes to tabs. We got tab galore in every single category, okay? Every single category has tabs out of the wazoo. You don't know anything yet. Hold on, does it still play music even though it's minimized? I hope so. I hope it doesn't stop playing music. Okay, coming back to, yeah, look at this. Intel begging for Apple to invest in them. Please, sir, invest in us. QBTS is the one that kind of doesn't look too bad, but it's also closer to the RGTI chart, and then QUBT has been the one that's really been left out. I can't remember any of the other quantum names at the moment, but this is where my handy dandy watch list comes into play, because I worked on this watch list. Quantum ARQQ up 3.7% today. QMCO, ooh, pull back on QMCO. That could be a good one to potentially keep an eye on for the short side, but volume dying down pretty drastically already. QSI has yet to take off, and QS, not really quantum, but let's see how this battery maker is currently doing. Looks like QuantumScape is also pulling back at the moment. All right, that's your quantum sector. Now let's head over to the nuclear energy sector. OKLO, which looks like it is starting the day one red day. It was yesterday red day one. First red day was not yesterday, so today was the first red day. You got the 8% to the downside. Nice little short opportunity on the failure to stay above yesterday's high right off the open. It failed to stay above yesterday's high. Then it gave you some sort of opening range breakdown right around yesterday's VWAP. And it gave you a nice move into yesterday's low, but then bounced right back up and pushed back to the north side. Look at how it's a similar chart to Ion Q, in the sense that yesterday's VWAP almost ended at today's VWAP almost ended at yesterday's VWAP, showing you that both the prices were fair value prices or premium prices for both of these days. But now, as the stock is starting to push down, the first red day setup coming into fruition, any pop and rejection off of today's VWAP, off of yesterday's VWAP, I don't think we should see 140 again, 138 again. So 135 to 136 would be a nice area to see if we get a pop and reject. Ideally, though, if we get a reject at 132.50, that would make the setup even better. That would be kind of not today's low. It would be basically, you know, Tuesday's low. So pop and reject into Tuesday's low, and then failing to hold today's low, which is 130. That would be the best setup out there. The second best setup would be popping and reclaiming Tuesday's low, but failing to reclaim today's VWAP. So today's VWAP, which is 135, 136 area, failing to reclaim that, that would be the ideal short for me, or sorry, second most ideal short for me. So I'm gonna put this zones over here to keep an eye out for. Today's low was 132, sorry, 132.35 was Tuesday's low, and we're gonna put in 130. I think that's a better way to put that. Okay, so watching OKLO for, let me also put it in my notes, if stock can stay below 132.50 and under 130, love to short all pops. If stock is above 132.50 but rejecting 135 to 136, short that area for a test of 130, and then if 130 breaks, get serious. Okay, that is the game plan for OKLO tomorrow. And since OKLO didn't really have that blast off day that I thought it could have had, NNE kind of did one of the things, close to one of the things that I was looking for. It did give you a blast off above the $46, but it basically rejected from that all-time high of 48. Now, had NNE actually, sorry, if OKLO actually had gone up higher and ran up insane to the north side, I think you would have seen that 48 breakout. But right now, volume dying down. This day's midpoint, which is currently around $42.50, $42. You'll see if support comes around 42. Maybe now it's time to see money rotating out of OKLO and then going into NNE. Who knows? And that means time to sell off OKLO. NNE trades sideways, creates a flag, and then this breaks out above its all-time high. I'm just speculating over here, but in terms of sympathy trades, if OKLO is trading below 130, there's no way in hell that this should be above 42. So the important price point will be 42 over here, if 130 is the important price point on OKLO. In terms of resistance, I think you got the clear picture over here, right? 48 again. The stock really has to get above 48 to be a banger long, but you have a lot of room between 42 to 48, in which point I don't really want to be making too many decisions over here. I'd rather make a decision close to 48. I'd rather make a decision close to 42. I don't want to fight in the middle. So just gonna let the stock do whatever it wants, and then just be patient for that eventual setup to come into play. Looks like SanDisk actually gave you that first red day setup today. First red day coming in, rejecting right off of yesterday's VWAP. That is picture perfect as the first red day can get, and then eventually getting below today's VWAP and then flushing down. This is like almost as perfect as you want it. Now you have the $100 area, which is basically where the stock closed around. It's not able to get above the $100 area in the after hours right now. Low volume stock in general anyways for a $100 name. Only trades about, oh, it's actually volume has been going up recently, so not bad at all. But now you got you know, clear zone from 100 to 101, 101.50, which is where today's VWAP, where the stock should not be able to get above. Even the opening range low today happens to be exactly where today's VWAP is ending. Sometimes it ends up being this beautiful synergy of a price point area where you can make future decisions off of. So tomorrow 100 to 102, I'm gonna draw that line up to 102 because of the lack of liquidity from my experience on this name, especially on the option side. No liquidity on this name, so maybe as the stock pops back above 100 and struggles around 102, I'll be able to snag some options for the cheap prices and then look for the second red day and the third red day setup, eventually pull the stock a little bit back to the south side. I mean, very extended name, ridiculously extended, no breaks at all when it's going up, whereas WDC and some of these other names have had a little bit of a break in them. Talking about WDC, looks like you could actually have a similar setup on WDC here right around the 109 area. So let me quickly put this one on the watch list too, and then we'll circle back to SNDK. WDC right at color, we'll put orange, right at 109. If we get below 109 and stay weak below 109, potentially some good short setups coming in over there. And then SNDK, you know, as I said, 100 to 102. I don't want to see the stock reclaiming this 100 to 102 area, and high priority, a little bit more priority than WDC, even though WDC technically has better liquidity for you know, the price that it trades at. Doesn't matter, just trade both of them if you want, because I think they'll be good setups. Tesla, what a strong stock today. I actually got baited into closing a little bit more of my Tesla long, but if Tesla breaks 445 tomorrow, maybe even in the overnight market today, I might be interested in buying some shares back into Tesla, because, you know, this stock is eventually going into 500. There's no stopping this. The people are going to vote in favor for Elon Musk's pay package, and because of that, they're just gonna keep buying more and more shares, more gamma squeezing. I just don't understand why I closed and why I got scared. I'm honestly a paper-handed trader. So Tesla, shout out to the stock at the moment, ripping back to the north side, especially on a weekday like today. Once the market's strong, I mean, how strong is this going to be, right? So looking for it to carry the market to a new market rally to the upside, along with its partner in crime, Apple. However, Apple has been a little weak for the last few days. If Apple can, you know, start pushing back into the all-time high, Apple and Tesla are more than enough candidates, the characters needed to take the market back, right back up to the south, to the north side, sorry, south side, right back up to the north side. So looking for both of these stocks to be very active in the coming few days. You know, Apple Intel news, if that actually ends up playing out, I don't see how that's a bad thing for Apple. Lots of companies are already looking to invest in Intel. Apple investing in Intel would actually be beneficial, and maybe even bad for you know, Google, because that's now directly competing with Google's AI chip and so on. So all these news catalysts are eventually just going to be good. I'm not really seeing a negative reason in the market out there, other than simply profit taking, you know, simply scalping profits on the market. That's basically what we're seeing on the market. QQQ, what is the real reason for a down day today? I mean, no big elevation on the volume. I'm not even seeing the market below the 200-day moving average for the tech market. Here's your S&P 500, just barely closing around the 9-day moving average. didn't have as much of as a bounce as the S&P 500, or as much as the QQQ, but still bounced nevertheless. Coming back to the Mag 7 over here, I think the only 2 or 3 ones I honestly care about right now are Tesla, Apple, and Nvidia. The rest of them, you guys already know me. I don't day trade Microsoft. I don't day trade Meta. These are too expensive names, and liquidity on these suck to day trade anyways. There are those leverage ETFs if you're interested to trade, such as METV. I don't know if Microsoft has a leverage ETF. I've never really looked into it. Amazon recently took a nosedive yesterday. Let's see if it continues to take a nosedive. Give me a second. My leg is really itchy because I took a shower right before going live, and I forgot to put lotion on my dry skin, so it's itchy. I need to put lotion on before going live next time. Anyways, Amazon still weak on the day today after yesterday. It looks like Amazon really wants to go give a kiss to the 200-day moving average. So let it pull back, let it go test the 200-day. Never a bad spot to look long on Magnificent 7 when they are pulling back the 200-day and the overall market is at the all-time high. Amazon is a very good spot at that point to look for a long. I know that feeling, it's the worst. Yes, it's like that sandpaper feeling. I hate that sandpaper feeling, bro. Yuck. Why is this open? We can close this. But this is the thumbnail for today, for those of you who didn't see it. Nice little thumbnail today, huh? That's a large cap market for the most part. Tesla, Apple, Nvidia, those are the only 3 stocks I'm watching. Tesla above 445 would be very, very exciting. Was it 445? Let's actually quickly go back. Yes, 445. Apple, Nvidia don't really have as clean levels as Tesla, but just worth watching anyways, just because I like watching them, I guess. I'm going to ignore Google, Amazon. Pony, man, what a miss on Pony, because we've been stocking this for stock from like what, $16, and then now it's at $23. So absolute miss on this name. That's a 40% gain for the swing account that I could have had. Hopefully QURE gives me that type of a gain tomorrow, but that stock was already up what, 300% today, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna get another 300% run on QURE. Missing out on generational wealth over there. But Pony making a nice run up recently, potentially a pullback. I would love for a pullback and hold around $19-20 so I could start looking long on this name for the swing trade. So let's see how this one plays out. It's a little too far gone now. I don't really have a setup that can let me put my money into this trade. So just being patient, watching how Pony trades. Let's go to the sector that actually might be coming into play very, very soon, which is the space sector. So let me go here. There we go. Space sector, currently very red, but RKLB, I mean, that's a nice chart. You can see how it's holding well above its earnings VWAP ever since it actually broke above this little trend line. I actually got stopped out on that big red day, but I should have gone back in at 45 over here, which is idiotic of me not to do so. The stock is very volatile. It moves 7% on an average daily range, so very, very volatile. You got to be able to stomach it, right? No risk, no rara. You got to be able to stomach a big move back and forth. So because of that, I want to be able to buy it on the dip. Let's see if we can get a little bit more pullback. Right now we're exactly at the 9 and the 21-day moving average, pulling back into the earnings VWAP, pulling back into the 50-day moving average. And if you actually notice, right around this area, very rarely does the stock actually has had to test the 50-day moving average. So I think somewhere like this, if we get a 50-day test, I'm not sure if the more times it tests the moving average, I guess the worse it is, because eventually the buyer is exhausted and then we start pushing back to the downside. But that also gives me very tight risk to reward, so I'm really okay with an opportunity of buying somewhere near 46, 47 and then risking like a 45 move, and then if 45 fails, I can wait somewhere down here at 40 for the support undercut and rally, right? No one's obligated to buy at a moving average. That's why you never want to use like a moving average as a reason to enter, and then a moving average as a reason to stop. A moving average is a reason to trail your winning positions. If you're already in the money, is a more than good of a reason to trail your winners, but it's never a good enough of a reason to simply enter just because it bounced off of it. There's technical setups that actually do it. There's called the undercut and rally. So this right here, it's called the 50-day moving average undercut. How it undercut below the 50-day and then it started to rally above the 50-day moving average. You also got some volume coming in, so you could technically get long somewhere here, $41, and put your stop at 37, and you never really got stopped out of that trade, right? 50-day moving undercut and rally. So something like that. Show me getting below the moving average and then reclaiming it, and then some buying pressure coming through, back through above it. That's going to be the setup that I want to be participating in. And then if I get stopped out after that, you know what? I'm fine, because that's a setup that has proven to be profitable to me back in the day. It's a setup that I've back tested. It's a setup that I've seen a lot of people make millions of dollars in. So if I lose on it once, you know, I'm okay with that. So just gonna something that pointing out that just because it worked in the past doesn't mean it has to work again. What in the hell is this name? UFT? Oh, it's a UFO. Sorry, it's a ETF for space stocks. That's pretty cool. I didn't know about that. Very light volume though. UFO. PL, one of my biggest regrets of my trading career. I owned this name from $3 and I no longer own this name. I basically got out around $6-7, and then right before earnings report, here we are at $12. So I don't know why I didn't punch back in long right here. There was a beautiful delayed high volume closed long right at $9. I mean, this stock could really be so much higher than where it is. This is just getting started. So I shouldn't be crying. I should get ready for a possible setup coming in the near future, some sort of an undercut and rally, some sort of another episodic pivot. But right here was the episodic pivot when it reported a positive earnings report after a very long time, jumped up by like what, 100% or 50%, and ever since then, I mean, never really tested that day low again, right? Never really tested that day low again. Positive earnings report again, another EP, and then ripping back to the upside. So PL, gotta keep an eye on these space names. Currently, they look dormant. I got a little excited because I saw people talking about the sector. They look a little dormant. Volume's still good, actually. But maybe possibly they're giving you opportunities to actually buy them on the dips. Some of them are giving you opportunities to buy them on dips. Some of them are already ripping to the north side. So just keep an eye out for these names and get ready to participate in these positions. That's your space sector. Let's quickly go to the drone sector. RCAT recently had an offering, and that offering news really got absorbed very, very cleanly, I want to say, almost, because the stock didn't really flush to the downside too much, and the volume stayed elevated, and then it started popping back to the upside. But wow, what an ugly move today. And this is why when you're trading stocks that have a high average daily range, you got to be able to stomach these moves, right? It's up 9% one day, it's down 10% the other day. So it's like, wow, what's going on? That's why you want to also be able to buy positions at a spot that's closer to the buyer. If you're buying it on a breakout, now you're basically trapped, right? You want to buy it closer to the buyer. Where are the buyers accumulating most of the shares? One of the best ways to look where the buyers are is actually this indicator right here. It's called the volume profile. Let's do visible range volume profile. We'll fix the range real quick for you guys. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go year to date. Did I just see a fly in my room? Jesus Christ, I did see a fly in my room. Okay, So if you just do a quick little volume profile for year to date, it looks like most of the volume was traded around $8, and then $9, somewhere between, what is it, 8 to 950 is where most of the volume was accumulated for all the data that you see on the chart. So ideally, that's where you want to be. Closer to the buyer is where you want to be long. If you had taken that breakout over there, you would have been stuck a little bit, and now you'd been crying. Let's look at RGTI. I haven't actually looked at volume profile in quite a bit for some of these stocks. How does RGTI look like? Look at that, right? If you're buying long here now, are you really buying to where the big buyers were long from, or are you buying where the FOMO buyers are buying from? And what do the FOMO buyers do as soon as the stock starts to push back down? They sell, they close their positions. And then what are the buyers in this area doing when these moves are happening? They're taking profits. This is the exit liquidity, right? This is what I've been doing. I've been taking profits on pops, just making sure that I don't get dumped on. So just make sure that you know who you are when you're participating in this market, and right tools for the right job. When you're trying to go cut the grass, you're not going to be using a snowblower, right? You're going to use a lawnmower. So right tools for the right job, know how to analyze the volume, where is the accumulation taking place, how to analyze volatility, how to analyze relative volume, average daily ranges, resistances, supports, 200 moving day averages, and so on. And once you put the whole picture together, it's basically like Picasso painting the picture. You start painting the picture for yourself. You start seeing the little finer details in the stock. For example, UMAC, another drone name. Look how much different this is acting to RCAT, right? I was so infatuated with going long RCAT. In fact, I was going to get some shares RCAT a couple days ago when they were starting to make that run up, and I said, you know what, no, I'm gonna stick to UMAC because RCAT's not really behaving as I think it should. It's also not a recent IPO as UMAC is, and it's also not what you call it, like RCAT has had many splits in the past, and RCAT just recently announced an offering, whereas UMAC did not announce an offering. UMAC has a very clean breakout over here on the daily chart, similar to RCAT, but it's actually sticking on the breakout. So I figured, no, I'm gonna stick to UMAC. I'm not gonna be stupid, and I made the right decision. Look which one pulled back and which one didn't. I'm long UMAC like what, 12, 11, and I'm still in the money on this name, even though it's pulling back on me. That's not the best thing to see, but still in the money on this name, right? Just these little decisions that you make when you create the whole picture for yourself make the most difference in your P&L over the long run. Just these little nuances that you start spotting. Oh, look at the way this reacted to that news. Oh, look at the way it's continuing to react to that news. Oh, now it's done reacting to that news, and now the reaction's different. That would be a change in characteristics. So just like constantly observing bar by bar by bar. For example, QURE chat for the 5-minute today. If you want to do a 5-minute review of this chart today, that would be one of the most beneficial things that you would be able to do as a day trader. In fact, it's something that I have written down in my homework. Go ahead and review the QURE chart for the charts catalog, which I do after hours. So let's do that actually live over here on stream. Reports come out. Martin Shkreli announces that, hey, the stock is very good. Look for it to get bought up. Watching that the stock is actually not finding any selling. Eventually, I actually go long over here at the $40 hold area, and then don't take any profits at 42, and then I get stopped out for break even. But I'm watching on the pullback. How cleanly is this holding the VWAP of the news, right? It's holding the news VWAP very, very cleanly, and it's not really selling off. Okay, Over here, they try to sell it off. It's holding clean on this candle. On this candle, it actually reclaims the VWAP over here and now holding some sideways consolidation. And then over here, they try to sell it off again, but buyers step right back in. Now you see some volume coming in on the breakout of this range. This range is actually a very tight, clean consolidation. Happens to be an even dollar level. If you go to see it on a 10-second chart, you can see how that looks on a 10-second chart. This is why I say sometimes the cleanest charts I like to trade on is the 10-second chart. So you have a very nice battle between a buyer and a seller. The seller is not really moving, but the buyers are battling back and forth. And once you spot something like this on the tape, on the chart, just take the breakout right there. So I actually bid into this area. I'm long here. I'm long here. I'm adding to the breakout. And then when the stock pulls back, I don't care. My stop is somewhere down here. Do I get stopped out? No. In fact, maybe I can even look for a reason to be even more greedy and add more size here and give it a stop right down here for the added size, and the original size will still be stopped over here and here, which would give me a little bit more exposure, a little bit more skin in the game. And then over here, look at the beautiful resistance that actually gives me a reason to add more to the trade at 44. I actually take the ad over here, just going bar by bar by bar. This is the 5-second or 10-second chart, but if we go back to the 5-minute chart, once again, bar by bar by bar, right? Just boxed action, bid into the box, support. I'm long 38, 39, and my support is what, 37, 38. I'm risking $2 for a move into high a day or more. Yes, I'm always taking that chance, okay? And then as the reaction to me taking that trade continues to look better and better, there's reasons to add to the trade. Turn it from a C into a B, and then over here, when you get a nice high a day breakout, right? You get the high a day breakout. After you get the high a day breakout, let me draw a line so you can identify it. After you get the high a day breakout, now you got buyers stepping in above the high a day. Not only are they wanting to buy more, they're saying, hey, we're gonna buy even though the stock is up 200, 300%. We want more shares. So once I see that action on the 5-minute chart, you go back into the 10-second chart, and you can see right here, ooh, I don't want to move the box because I want that box for my review. You can see right here, high a day breaks, gets back below high a day briefly, and then they start fighting for more prices between 43 to 44. I take the 44 break, put the stop at 43, never comes into play. And then if I just trail it on the 5-minute bar lows, where is the stock going? Like 5-minute bar lows gets me all the way out at 46 bucks. And then the rest of the shares, I'm actually out at 50 bucks. So such an easy, clean trade to take, and all you have to do really is study and analyze the chart. Had this been a short in this area, I promise you that would have been a very clean trade too. You would have gotten some sort of a fashionably late scalp trade coming into play over here, where the 9 EMA starts to cross back over the VWAP, and I bet you that the 9 EMA never actually crossed back over the VWAP before 10 o'clock, or did it? Let's go take a quick look at it. If it took on the 1 minute, look at that. 9 EMA never went below VWAP on the 1 minute. Had it gone below VWAP on the 1 minute, that would have potentially triggered a reason to look short on this name, but it never did that. And then it just continued to show you buying above VWAP, buying above VWAP, buying above VWAP. There was a potential scalp here to look short, a rubber band scalp if you know how to pull that off. A fashionably late scalp would have been somewhere here if the 9 EMA crossed VWAP. These are all SMB scalp setup, guys. I'm not talking about anything fancy. Okay, we're just using SMB setups and talking about simple mechanics on the market. Beautiful opportunities on the market. Love seeing it. Quickly coming back to the drone sector. RR, little weak right now. You know, I keep talking about having to stomach these moves. If you want a hot flying mover, you got to be able to stomach it. I did, however, have to cut some of my shares today of RR. I will look to buy back on the dip. If this goes back into $3, I would gladly buy more. So that's why I'm taking profits right now, and then you know, I'll buy more on the dip. I end up having more exposure for when it eventually starts going back higher. I want this stock for the long run, and I'm very bullish about this name. So looking to see how it plays out right now. A 9 EMA test is coming into play. After a big stick like that, this action is not really what you want to see, but looks like we got some sort of a buyer around 430, 450, and the 9 EMAs around, or 9 DMA is around 430 also, so potentially some support around that area. Some of the other robotic names, SCRV, how have you guys been acting recently? Looks like a pullback also into most recent resistance. This is not bad actually, like pulling back into the most recent resistance area, which also happens to be the 9 EMA. Sometimes I've seen these actually curl back and start looking back to the north side, especially if the market's not topping out. If the market's not topped out, these could start turning back up. So keep an eye out for these one. SOUN continuing to see like it will continue to look like it wants to keep going over here after its breakout recently, so potentially one keep worth watching. IREN, I had to cut some shares on this one, took some profits on IREN today, but yeah, this one's starting to go parabolic now. Other names in the same basket, CIFR, I think BITF, which was in the same basket, actually got beat up compared to it actually got beat up not too long ago. Got beat up already, but went up along with IREN today a little bit. But IREN, the biggest winner out of the group, and thankfully, it's the one that I'm involved in. Let's go IREN. Watching IREN also making money for the swings over here. Watch list is very, very similar. For the most part, I'm still looking for the sell-off on the quantum names and on the nuclear names, and on the AI type of names like SNDK, WDC. I actually forgot to look at Seagate, so let me quickly jump on to STX. Seagate looks perfect too, in my opinion. Very similar to Micron. Sorry, not Micron. Very similar to Western Digital. Where if it starts to get below these areas, I think you got a lot of room to the downside. So 220, 293 to 220, 197, basically 223 to 222 on Seagate. If Seagate starts to look weak below that, I think you got some floodgates opening up to the downside on all three of these names. And honestly, given how many names that I have that I'm looking for a similar setup, I think there's no reason for me to continue looking for other names out there than just focus on these names. Because out of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 names that I have on watch over here for the first red day, second red day sympathy names, eventually one of them's got to blow off to the downside and give me a big trade to capitalize on. So I'm just gonna be patient and watch for these. 222, I'm gonna put that here. I'm gonna put 223 here, and then today's VWAP is where's today's VWAP? That's around 226. And I'll put that 225 to 226 over there. Let's head over to the last few things that I want to talk about before I wrap it on the day, because I don't see anything else that I want to really talk about. Pretty much covered everything. No earnings names tomorrow. I guess Jabil, JBL is worth keeping an eye on. Tomorrow, JBL pre-market. Put that on the watch list for yourselves if you guys are interested. Previously has given some monster day trades. It's also at an all-time high. Looks like it gapped up today, or gapped up, or no, it pushed up recently into a new all-time high, and then kind of just failed that today, going into the earnings call tomorrow, or going into the earnings report tomorrow, but still trying to pop up, or already popped up 2% after hours. So yeah, might be something interesting. 237 on Jabil, JBL over here on the earnings move, potentially worthy. But I think that's pretty much the only earnings names that I really care about tomorrow. BlackBerry, because I'm Canadian, maybe, yeah, sure. KMX, I have traded KMX before, but I'm gonna go ahead and ignore KMX. I'm just going to focus on some of the best movers in the market right now, because that's where the real money is. and money has been almost on easy mode to make, I want to say, because the market has been going up nonstop. So now it's time to test the bulls. Now it's time to test the bulls as to where your stops are. Where are you going to take profits? Where are you going to take your losses? And by that, I mean if market starts pulling back, these are the names that I'm interested the most in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's basically all she wrote. Oh yeah, last few things that I almost forgot about to talk about is the actually, let's go check the Fed Watch, see what the Fed Watch's rate tool is saying. Rate tool is now predicting a 93% probability of a 25 beeps rate cut and a 7% probability of no rate cut coming in on the October 29th Fed meeting. So that's pretty interesting. Heading over to the IPO calendar. IPO calendar shouldn't have anything, and yes, nothing on the IPO calendar. I'm almost sure that everyone is going to pull their IPOs after what they recently saw from some of the most recent IPOs like StubHub and so on. I'm not sure if anyone is going to actually go ahead and IPO on purpose anymore now. Looks like Neptune Insurance wants to IPO, but insurance companies, who cares? No one gives a shit. Econ calendar, last but not least thing to show. The econ calendar tomorrow, you do have a couple important events for the market. 8:30 jobless claims, that's a very important thing. PCE prices, that's another important thing. Durable goods, jobless claims, Fed member at 9 a.m. existing homes at 10 a.m. Another Fed member at 10 a.m. 7-year auction at 1 p.m. Another Fed member at 1 p.m. Another Fed member at 3:30, and then the Fed balance sheet at 4:30. So fairly active Fed member talks going on. Not sure exactly what the conference is or why they're talking, or if it's just a transcript that they're gonna give out. But fairly active Fed members throughout the day. Once again, 9, 10, 1 o'clock, and 3:30. So keep an eye out for market potentially moving around those times, especially if any of these Fed members are voting members. More of a reason that the market could move depending on what they say. If they're being hawkish about future rate cuts, if they're being dovish about future rate cuts, those are going to affect the moves, okay? Along with that, the econ data such as home sales, jobless claims, and PCE naturally will affect it because FOMC committee, the market in general are looking to see if the battle against inflation, the battle against tariffs is going in the right direction. That, ladies and gentlemen, is all she wrote for today's stream. Tomorrow we have Costco earnings after hours. That's going to be a fun one to talk about. Make sure you tune in. Going to be a banger of an earnings report to go live about, especially if they finally did they announce a split yet? I don't remember if they announced the split. I feel like they did. I feel like they did announce a split, but I forgot. Maybe they didn't. But if they do announce a split, that'll be something to keep an eye out for on Costco, because this one could start being a good intraday after-hour day trade to keep an eye out for. All right, boys and girls, thank you for watching. I enjoyed all the banter in the chat with especially TH. Always love picking fights with TH. Oh, my camera froze. Oh, there we go. My camera froze for a second. Always love picking fights with TH. Next time, if you guys have stocks you want me to take a look at, throw it in the chat. Yes, girls, TH, you're a girl, okay? Let's be real. Let's not lie to the people here. If you guys have any names you want me to take a look at, don't be shy. Throw it in the chat next time. Let me quickly see if there's anybody who said hi on the Twitter, or I should say, sorry, X chat, okay. Because I'm not able to pop out the X chat anymore. Nope, X chat's dead. No one likes talking on the X platform. Anyone talking on the Pump Fund platform? No one's talking on the Pump Fund platform, but why not talk about the Pump Fund platform really quick while we're here? I created a meme coin where I'm streaming on. If you guys want to buy some meme coins, go ahead and buy some meme coins that belongs to me. I'm not gonna rug you. I promise you I'm not gonna rug you, but as all meme coins go, there's a high chance that somebody else comes in and buys a big amount of the coin and then they try to rug you, so just be careful. But I did make a pump coin for fun. Made it mainly because I can stream on there and hopefully get some views, but looks like yeah, not getting much views on there. I might have to buy my own coin and pump my own coin to get more views and then translate that into YouTube views and then TikTok views and then Twitter views and so on. That's a whole long master plan that I'll have to pull off. Anyways, always fun to see you guys up here. Skydog, what's up, Skydog? Good to see everyone out here. See you tomorrow for the final stream of the week. Go make some money, baby. Go make that cheddar cheese. Rolling in the outro. Peace.